guys, welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of my discussion on body positivity. If you haven't seen part 1, is it healthy to be body positive? I do encourage you to check it out because in that video I do define what body positivity is, and I give you guys my thoughts on what I see as the positive and negative trends I've seen with this term. So if you haven't seen that video, press pause on this video and go check it out. Alright, so as you've seen in that first video, I do stress that individuals needed to prioritize their own physical health if they want to count as being body positive, if they truly love themselves. And in this video, I'm actually going to be arguing that it's the clinical health field that also needs to be stepping up, because by the looks of it, there are plenty of implicit biases in clinical decision making and standards of health that can unjustly worsen someone's body image and very much hinder someone's journey to physical health. Ultimately, if we want people to take pride in their bodies, to want what's best for themselves physically, then we have to hold the individual accountable to some degree, but we also need to put responsibility on the people that we have entrusted to help us become healthier human beings. Alright, so what are these implicit biases that I am talking about regarding the clinical health field? Well, the first one I want to discuss is the issue of using BMI as a standard of health. BMI stands for Body Mass Index, and to find your own BMI, all you would do is divide your weight in kilograms by your height in meters squared. Whatever your BMI score is, it will fall into one of 4 categories: underweight, normal, overweight, or obese. Underweight is a BMI of less than 18.5. Normal is a BMI between 18.5 and 24.9. Overweight is a BMI between 25 and 29. And obese is a BMI of 30 or above. The idea behind this equation is that based on your height, you should be within a certain weight range. And if you are over that range, then you have too much excess fat. And if you're below that range, you have too little fat. Now, as so many of you pointed out when I asked for your thoughts on BMI on Instagram, BMI does not account for composition. It can't differentiate between what is fat, what is muscle, or what is bone mass. So you could have someone with low body fat with a lot of muscle, and they would have a high BMI that is either in the range of overweight or obese. And you know what makes this so wrong is that these BMI ranges are ranges made on the average white Western male body type. There's strong evidence that other races have different BMI ranges, and this reality often leads medical professionals to tell people of color that their bodies aren't normal, that they're too underweight or too overweight. It's one thing to see only certain body types celebrated in the media, but it's a whole other thing when you are told that you shouldn't be the size you are for health reasons, even if you're perfectly healthy.
So what about those that actually have way too much excess fat or too little fat that it affects their health? Shouldn't we encourage people to have a relatively healthy amount of body fat?
And to that I say yes, but I do think that many physicians often do not handle these kind of conversations well. And this bleeds into the second implicit bias that I want to discuss. The bias that many physicians hold against overweight or obese people, that they are disgusting and lazy. A 2003 study found that out of 620 physicians, over 50% of them viewed their obese patients as awkward, unattractive, ugly, and non-compliant. A 2012 study found that health professionals who specialize in obesity exhibited a significant pro-thin, anti-fat, implicit bias, and endorsed the implicit stereotype of lazy, stupid, and worthless. These biases affect the way physicians treat and care for their overweight and obese clients. 65% of overweight and obese women have experienced weight stigma from their doctors. Beyond just negative attitudes, physicians on average spend less time with this population. Those of us that have never been in a bigger body, it can be kind of hard to imagine what that really feels like. So I want to read an expert from an article I read that really kind of woke me up to how people in bigger bodies feel and experience going to the doctor. So this article is called "The Problem with Body Positivity. As long as doctors judge your looks, nothing will change." And it is written by Your Fat Friend, who is a 400-pound woman, or at least she was, and during the experience she talks about. And she writes, "As a fat person, I had become accustomed to care providers' pained winces at the sight of my body and the long and condescending lectures that so often followed. I steeled myself as I entered this doctor's office, noticing a stiffness in my joints and muscles as I changed into a too small hospital gown and awaited the doctor. He was older than me, but still young in his early 40s. His eyes punctuated by crow's feet and his mouth laugh lines. He walked in smiling, and upon seeing me, his expression changed. When confronted with the prospect of examining my 400-pound body for a routine checkup, he physically recoiled. His face a mask of disgust, he cast his eyes away from mine, looking anywhere else, as he launched into a lecture about weight loss that I heard countless times before. Being overweight is unhealthy, but being morbidly obese is inexcusable. You've got to lay off the fast food. You've got to get moving. Don't you want to be around for your future children? I cooked my meals at home, walked 5 miles a day to get to work and back again, and I didn't plan on having children. I had an eating disorder too, born of decades of weight loss attempts, but none of that mattered to him. Before I had a chance to respond, he shuffled out of the room, no questions asked. A medical tech returned to let me know that my visit was complete. "You can see yourself out the way you came in," she said, her eyes sharp, voice cold, words clipped. I was awash in confusion, then consumed with shame. And this makes me sick because what kind of treatment like that makes anything better? It helps no one and makes the patient feel worthless and full of shame and receiving no guidance to actually fix the real underlying problems. She had this eating disorder. He didn't even ask about her eating habits. It was just an assumption on the way she lives her life. I was looking at one study that was reporting on weight stigma in clinical offices, and one woman was talking about how she didn't receive treatment for a lung issue. I forget what disease it was, because the doctor just assumed her breathing problems were due to her obesity. In my last videos, I said individuals need to step up and realize when they have an unhealthy situation. Some people don't do that, right? But for the people that do, how can we expect them to be healthy or want to get healthy if there's no guidance, nobody listening, and people who are your superiors in health telling you you're lesser? And so what is the takeaway here? Well, the answer is something that I find very fundamental to my own business as a personal trainer and health coach. The role of a physician or health professional is to, yes, educate their clients on health matters, but I also believe it's their role to be active listeners so that they can be the proper support for a client during their health journey. Physicians don't know a priori what is best for someone based on looks or BMI. What physicians and clients need to do is to have open conversations and ongoing conversations so that they can both get to the root of behavioral or genetic problems, if there are any. Like I was saying earlier in this video, just because someone's BMI is not normal doesn't mean that they're unhealthy. Maybe, just maybe, if all doctors treated their clients with respect and an open mind dedicated to understanding their clients, people would have less shame, would be more motivated to work on their health, and would actually be more productive in their efforts. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. Just to put it out there, I don't think all physicians, all health professionals are bad. I obviously am a health professional myself, but I think there is an ongoing problem, as I have expressed. But I am curious what you guys think. I love the discussions I've had with people in the comments of my videos on Facebook and on Instagram. So I'd like to keep this going, and maybe there will be a part 3. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.